All right, a special edition of the A Game Show with MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy. Sir, thank you as always for coming on. March Madness is officially here. MIAA tournament wrapped up. Now it's the NCAA tournament. But what a weekend it was with the MIAA tournament down in Municipal Auditorium.
Yeah, I'm exhausted, Chris. It was it was a heck of a weekend. I apologize for the casual attire.
That's good
We
casual
were
though.
busy this morning moving everything out of Municipal Auditorium, but it was a great week, a great celebration of MIAA men's and women's basketball, and we're very lucky as a conference that we're the conference that gets to play in that historic venue, Municipal Auditorium, and we had great basketball, great weather, great crowds. So it was a very good week for MIAA basketball.
I know you and I have talked about it before, but the history of that venue. I don't know if a lot of people know that history of the venue, but what makes it so special to you? Because I mean, there's been national championships crowned there. There's been so many coaching legends, players play in that building through decades.
Well, one of the things that makes it so cool is being an old building, just how loud that place gets.
Hmm.
On Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we had in our afternoon sessions, we had schools from about 4 or 5 different school districts in the Kansas City area, and I think on Thursday we had 2,500 um, grade school students that were sitting upstairs.
They were
So we,
loud.
what's that?
They were loud. They,
They were
they,
very loud,
they
and
were loud.
it was such a great, cool environment, and to have that type of energy in the building on for a noon game on a Thursday afternoon is really cool. So just the setup itself, the acoustics, the intimacy of a big arena like that. Certainly when you walk through the halls and the corridors of Municipal Auditorium, you feel the basketball ghosts. You
Mhm.
just feel like this is a place that's seen some really big, great games in college basketball, and it has. It saw the triple overtime national championship game between North Carolina and Kansas and Wilt Chamberlain.
Mhm.
It's a place the place where John Wooden won his first national title. It's seen great players from the NAIA that have come through there. Holiday tournaments. It's just back to the late 1930s. That's the place that basketball's been played, and so many. I think just the environment and the layout and just a special place. And I know our coaches take time, Chris, to talk to their student athletes about the history of that building. I think our fans, coaches, student athletes all appreciate what municipal auditoriums meant to college basketball.
As for the tournaments themselves, men's side, Northwest winning their eighth in 9 years. Ben McCollum's run is unprecedented, but Northwest men coming in the one seed and winning another championship.
Yeah, it was. They're playing really well. Going into the game, Pitt State kind of surprised folks how
Yeah.
well they were shooting the ball, how well they were playing, and Northwest they were able to control that game and in the championship, and so they're playing well. Pitt State, had a great run. It's hard to win when you're coming out of that part of the bracket where you have to play 3 games in a row on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I think Northwest certainly looked like a team that maybe had fresher legs.
Yeah.
Having that bye day on Friday, I think certainly helped the Bearcats. But Pitt State played great. Um, we have Fort Hays State. Had a good tournament, and I'm excited that a few of those teams get to continue to play basketball in March.
Women's side of the MIAA tournament, a first ever for Pittsburgh State women winning the championship. Not coming in as a favorite, upsetting Missouri Western early in the semifinals, and then they were taking on Fort Hays, who upset Northwest in the semifinals. So couple lower seeds, but we've talked about before. In the MIAA women's side, seeding really didn't mean much this year when it came to just how tough the women's side of basketball is.
Yeah, we have 6 teams in our conference on the women's side that won 20 games. Pitt State wins the tournament as a number 5 seed. We've talked all year just how deep and strong MIAA women's basketball is. And, we made history too, Chris, in the championship. That was the first time that the MIAA has had 2 female head coaches scoring off against each other in the championship game. And so that's a cool moment in the history of the MIAA that we'll remember being there. But the women's side's so competitive. Some really, really good games throughout the tournament, and we've got a couple of schools that had, by any standard, NCAA caliber type seasons. UCM, Missouri Southern, Nebraska Kearney, and their seasons are done now because they play in this awesome league and tough region.
Let's start with the women's side of the Central region then. I think Sunday afternoon we all maybe thought 5 teams were. I guess it was Saturday afternoon we thought 5 teams were going to get in. Yeah. By Saturday night, with the GAC tournament, the top 2 seeds getting knocked off, Southern Nazarene as well as Harding getting knocked off, meant there was going to be a new favorite in the GAC tournament. GAC gets 3 teams in, MIAA gets 4, Northern Sun gets 1. Overall thoughts on how that ended up shaking out, because we thought there was going to be 5 up until Saturday.
The fact that there was an upset in the Great American Conference tournament, and that they would be having a different team filling an AQ spot removes one of those at-large opportunities for our MIAA schools. Our MIAA coaches would say, if they were on here, Chris, that you got to win and control the things you could control, and not look for someone else to take care of that. But it's disappointing. As I mentioned, we had 6 teams with 20 wins. I think seven teams in our tournament are all in the Massey ratings top 20 in the country. So, once again, we've same old song, but the division, Division II has changed. There's a reason that regionalization was put in place, back when Division II started, and it had 170 schools and schools from coast to coast, and you had to create regional incentives of keeping schools close during regular season scheduling and things like that. But the division has grown. The division has changed. The division has gotten a lot bigger, and unfortunately our championship policies and standards haven't. And we've had discussions about this, but it just continues to be the wrong way to organize what should be a very exciting time for student athletes that are competing at the highest level to have that chance to push for a national title. And our student athletes are being impacted, unfortunately, by the area of the country they live in, and how strong that sport is in that country. And that's just not right. We need to make changes. But we're happy for the 4 schools, obviously, that got in from the MIAA. We've got Pittsburgh State's on the same side of the bracket as the 3 schools from the Great American Conference. And then we have Missouri Western will go up against Minnesota State Mankato, the champ out of the Northern Sun. And then an MIAA rematch, Hayes and Northwest Missouri State. And I guess all those games are on Friday, I think, this week. So it's going to be an exciting region for women's basketball, and hopeful that we might see an MIAA championship matchup is what I'm rooting for.
Only thing I wish we would have got out of this bracket, named Pittsburgh State's on one side, like you said, Missouri Western, Hayes, and Northwest. I wish they wouldn't have put Hayes and Northwest together in that opening round.
Yeah.
Only game you would have traded with is that 1-8 matchup, but I would guess I'd make Northwest an 8 seed. But at the same
Yeah,
time, they're better than an 8 seed.
Henderson State, coming in as the AQ of the Great American Conference, not really having a season worthy of being in the postseason, other than winning their conference tournament, and that's how they get in there, and they're the ace seed in a very strong region.
Men's side of things, pleasantly surprised, I think. I think this whole year we thought it may be a 2-team race for the MIAA in the Central region. Like you talked about, Pittsburgh State, Jeff Boshy's crew having a great second half of the season, getting to the tournament championship game, 21-10. They get in as a 5 seed, Northwest a 2 seed, and Fort Hays State the 6 seed. So overall thoughts on the men's side, because I feel like that's probably maybe better than what people thought that the league would get leading up to this weekend.
Yeah, and I'm pleased that we don't have any MIAA first round matchups against each other. We've been burnt by that before, where we send some teams on the road and it's two MIAA teams squaring off against each other. And they just played the week before or something like that. But Pitt State gets Minnesota State Moorhead, and Northwest Missouri State gets Southwest Minnesota State, and Hayes gets Minnesota Duluth. So we're going to see on that first day, MIAA versus Northern Sun matchups, and probably the two best conferences in all of Division II basketball. And it's been that way for a while. And again, unfortunate that the two best conferences are in the same region. I have a feeling we're going to see some games worthy of Elite Eight type matchups in this bracket, but it should be just as competitive as what we talked about on the women's side, Chris.
Elite Eight, you mentioned that. Men will be in Evansville, but the Elite Eight women Final Four and National Championship will be here in St. Joseph. A 50% chance that an MIAA school will make it to St. Joseph here. So good odds, 5 out of 8 would have been better, but 4 out of 8, a decent chance that it'll be a close drive for people to come watch the women's Elite Eight, and hopefully an MIAA school is one of the 8 in the Final 8.
Yeah, I know St. Joe always does a great job when they host that women's national championship, and it'd be nice to have a local school that would bring a crowd and make it easy on fans. Media members that want to travel. So yeah,
helping media as well that doesn't want to,
and certain members of the media that will be there no matter what.
Right.
So let's give them a rooting interest. Yeah.
Last time it was in St. Joseph, Emporia State won that one. So national championship, I should say. Elite Eight Final Four was here last year, but national championship was Emporia State. Before we go, we got to touch on a couple national championships already. Pittsburgh State men indoor track going back-to-back, I believe, and the women almost winning a national championship just by a few points.
Yeah, it came down to the final relay race in both championships. And the Pitt State men, you talk about a dynasty, what they're doing in indoor and outdoor, and they've got it going on right now. But the women came very close to getting the dual championship for the MIAA, but we're very proud, obviously, of Pittsburgh State hosting the national title at third place, and the men taking home the team championship. That's team championship number 55 for the MIAA. We also had the Elite 90 winner on the men's side for indoor track and field from Northwest Missouri State. That's the top scholar athlete in every NCAA sport, all 90 championship sports, and always exciting when we have that recognition for the MIAA in one of our schools, that we're pretty good at sports and we're really good at our students going to class and doing well and graduating. And then this weekend, Chris, we'll have a shot to, I think, to add to that team championship number. I'll be heading to Wichita to watch the NCAA Division II wrestling championship, and University of Central Oklahoma will try to defend their national title from last year. And Nebraska Kearney, I think they won it 2 years ago, and they're going to be right there in the hunt, trying to take that back. So hopefully another good weekend for the MIAA at national championships, and a lot going on right now with postseason basketball and the NCAA championships and these other winter sports. It's a fun time of year, and we talk about March Madness as it relates to basketball, but really madness in every sport, and it's nice when we have schools that are doing so well.
So it's crazy all the time. I'm trying to find the time. Northwest website does have 12 o'clock Friday, and I think that's going to be the first game of the day down in Southern Nazarene, Bethany, or Oklahoma City, kind of for people to know where Bethany, Oklahoma is. So
yeah, for the women's.
Yeah, for the women's side. The men will be, I believe, Northwest is 2:30 for the teams I cover.
On Saturday.
Saturday, yes. So busy weekend for you. Hopefully, you get a couple days here to disappear, I guess, until this weekend and get back at it. Right?
Yeah, it's good. We had such a good week with our basketball tournament, and it's always it's a heavy lift, a lot of work, a lot of volunteers. We have a great tournament committee, obviously an awesome MIAA staff, but it's such a showcase event for the MIAA in Kansas City. And it's always, I think this was year 21 for the MIAA at Municipal Auditorium. And it's just such a privilege that our great conference, gets to launch and kick off March Madness in Kansas City, a great college basketball town. The Big 12's going on now. Yep. NAIA will roll in after that. So a lot going on, but it's always an honor and privilege to be the first to play at Municipal, and now I can be a fan for a little while.
I need to ask you too. What was the craziest Comic-Con costume you saw? I didn't get to see any of them while I was down there Thursday, but Matt Trenton was telling me he saw some interesting characters since Comic-Con was going on at the very same time, as well as the Big 12 women's basketball tournament and the MIAA tournament too.
Well, we had a couple of promotional events during halftime of our games where we dress up some of our high school students or college students in dinosaur costumes and make them dribble a basketball and try and make a layup in these dinosaur costumes. And I saw the same costume walking down the street, and I thought, someone stole our promo items. But no, it was just someone in a similar outfit for Comic-Con. So it was a crazy week in Kansas City with that going on, and the MIAA and the Big 12 women's tournament at the same time. A busy downtown, but entertaining for all, that's for sure.
I'm just glad no one stole Marshall's dinosaur costumes that he
Yeah, that would have been terrible.
Yeah, he would have hated it. MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy, thank you for the time as always. I'm sure I'll see you on the road some point in the next probably 1 to 2 weeks. And if I don't, that means, I don't know what it means. I'm just kind of tired at this point too.
I'll see you somewhere, someplace. So thanks, Chris.
Yeah, take care.